Today we're going to dig into something that, well, we all do, but almost never really understand: shopping. We're going to break down the hidden forces that drive our decisions, and let me tell you, the answers are probably not what you think. Because it turns out, the most important shopping decisions you make might not actually be your own.
Just think about it for a sec. What was the last big thing you bought? Or hey, even that small impulse buy from last week. You had your reasons, right? You needed it, it was a great deal, you totally deserved a little treat. But what if the real reason was something much deeper? Something you weren't even aware was happening? You see, the research we're diving into today makes a really powerful argument. Modern shopping isn't really about satisfying needs anymore. It's about regulating our emotions. The real story, the one we're going to unpack, is all happening right inside our heads.
So to really get a handle on this, we first have to talk about why the old explanation for why we buy things just doesn't really cut it anymore.
Okay, so this slide just lays it out perfectly. The classic view, the one on the left, basically said we're all rational, we make logical choices to meet our basic material needs, food, shelter, the essentials. But that model totally falls apart when you try to explain why we buy designer bags or the latest iPhone when the old one works just fine. The modern reality is that we're often acting as emotional regulators. We're buying stuff to manage some kind of internal tension.
So what is this internal tension, anyway? Well, the research we've looked at gives it a name: psychological strain. And this, right here, is the real motive behind so much of what we buy.
Psychological strain is basically that low-level hum of anxiety that so many of us feel all the time. It's this background noise of uncertainty and pressure. It comes from everywhere: job stress, money worries, comparing ourselves to everyone on social media. And we are constantly, usually without even realizing it, looking for ways to just make it stop, to get some relief.
And the source material breaks this down into 4 key types. You've got that general anxiety and uncertainty about the future. Then there's identity instability, that feeling of who am I really? There are also self-worth deficits where we just feel like we don't quite measure up. And finally, there's that deeper existential tension, that search for meaning in it all. These are the exact emotional weak spots that modern brands have gotten incredibly good at targeting.
Okay, so if our psychological strain is the motive pushing us, then what's the method? How do brands actually tap into these feelings to convince us to open our wallets?
And this right here is the absolute key. The most successful brands out there, they aren't just sitting around waiting for you to want something. No, they are actively shaping what you desire by positioning their product as the normal solution to your inner stress. They actually cultivate the intention to buy so that the second you feel that anxiety, their product is the first thing that pops into your head.
This slide shows us the entire playbook, what the source calls the strain-release cycle. So step 1, that strain, that anxiety, it builds up inside you. Step 2, a brand comes along and presents its product as the normal way to solve that feeling. Step 3, you see this enough that you internalize it, it becomes your own personal preference. Step 4, you buy the thing and you get that sweet temporary relief. But, and here's the kicker, step 5, the relief fades, the strain comes back, and the whole cycle starts over, only now that brand's solution is even more deeply wired into your brain.
Now, this whole idea of an external marketing message becoming your own internal desire, I know, it might sound a little abstract. So the source material gives us this powerful and honestly kind of creepy analogy from biology to make it crystal clear.
Okay, you got to stick with me here because this is wild. There's this parasite called a hairworm, and it grows inside a praying mantis. Now, a mantis is a land insect. It is terrified of water. But when the parasite inside it is ready to reproduce, it needs to get to water. So it hijacks the mantis's brain and forces it to go against every survival instinct it has and jump right into the nearest pond or stream. The mantis drowns and the parasite is set free.
So let's be super clear, this is just an analogy for a system. It's not a literal one-to-one comparison, but look at the parallels. The consumer is the host. The parasite is that market norm, that brand logic that whispers, this will fix your problem. The host's behavior, just like the mantis jumping into the water, is consumption that can actually go against our own long-term well-being, like racking up credit card debt. And the outcome? It's not survival for us, the host. It's the reproduction of the system itself, profit. And this quote from the source just hits the nail on the head. The mantis doesn't feel like it's being forced by a parasite. It just feels this overwhelming, irresistible urge to go to the water. In the same way, we don't feel coerced by an ad. The desire to buy feels like it's ours. It feels authentic. And that's exactly what makes this system so unbelievably effective.
So look,
This is all pretty fascinating, maybe even a little disturbing. But what's the big takeaway here? Why does understanding all this actually matter in our day-to-day lives?
Well, for businesses, the lesson is clear. Making an emotional connection is way more powerful than just talking about features and benefits. For society, it raises some really serious questions about the costs of this whole cycle. Things like consumer debt, burnout, and just our general well-being. But the most important takeaway is for you. For us, simply becoming aware of this dynamic is huge. It's the first step to getting back in the driver's seat, to moving from an unconscious reaction to a conscious choice.
So I'm going to leave you with this one question. The next time you feel that pull, that urge to buy something, just pause for a second. Ask yourself, where is this desire really coming from? Is it truly mine? Or is it an echo of a system that's designed to offer me temporary relief from a strain it might have helped create in the first place? Thinking about that, well, it could change the way you see everything.